If I would have told you at the beginning of free agency that things would fall in place for the Cubs to re-sign Cody Bellinger, I think a lot of you guys would be pretty excited. Starting to look that way in this free agency market. We're going to talk about that on today's show. But first, I want to thank you guys for being here and being part of the Cubs baseball channel. And if you're not, hey, then it's easy to do. Like and subscribe. If you're a free agent, give us a thumbs up, hit the bell so you know when we're talking Cubs baseball. Let's get this thing going. What do you say, everybody? I'm Mick Gillispie. Welcome to the Cubs baseball channel, and let's get into this. Cody Bellinger, maybe the best bet for him is going to be returning to the north side, coming back to Wrigley. The reason I say that is just the way the market's turning out. The teams that you would figure would be a good fit for him, they're starting to go different directions. And, I'm going to start with the Shohei Ohtani deal. We've talked a lot about that on this channel. I know some of you guys are sick of hearing about Ohtani. The Cubs, were in the mix, but I guess it came down to two teams. It came down to, from what I understand, the Dodgers and the Giants. And Ohtani's people offered the same deal to both teams, and the Giants took the deal, and it was up to Ohtani, and he ended up with the Dodgers. So what does that tell you, right? So the Giants went out, and they signed a center fielder, Young-Hoo Lee, out of Korea, and they're paying him pretty good money. He's a center fielder. So guess what? Now, Cody Bellinger, who I thought could potentially end up there, you wouldn't figure is going to end up there. And look for them to go hard for Yamamoto and battle out the Mets and the Yankees and the Dodgers and maybe some other teams as well. I'm not hearing the Cubs in that mix, by the way, although that doesn't mean that they're not in there, just not hearing their names right now for Yamamoto. But we are starting to hear their names for Bellinger. And I think that the Cubs have always wanted to bring Cody Bellinger back. You can put him at first base. You can put him in center field. He can platoon those two spots. He can DH. Love the way that he plays the game every day. He really is a true superstar, not just the comeback player of the year, but he's a guy that makes a difference. And you look at what the Cubs were able to accomplish last year, and they came up short, but it wasn't because of Cody Bellinger. And if you take him out of the lineup, I think that impact would really hurt the Cubs in their quest to win a World Series. So who is in that mix now? You take the Giants out, take the Dodgers out, take the Yankees out, who went out and made a trade for Juan Soto. And I think it's the Cubs. I think it's the Blue Jays. But, are you really going to go to Toronto when you can go to Chicago? I think the Cubs have an advantage there. And I do really think they're serious about bringing him in. I think they're going to go after some pitching as well. But the market is starting to dictate how this thing is progressing. There could be some other teams in this mix as well. Maybe the Seattle Mariners, possibly the Houston Astros. But you're hearing Toronto and you're hearing the Cubs. And if you're Cody Bellinger and you're looking around the landscape, you've been in L.A., you've been in Chicago. You've been at the Cubs, you've been at the Dodgers, right? You've been two of the four top franchise in baseball. Do you really want to go somewhere off the beaten path when you're kind of used to playing on the big stage? And I think that helps the Cubs. I also think the fact that he's familiar with the team, I think that the fact that the Cubs have this team that's moving in the right direction helps them a lot. So I'm expecting this thing to get kind of heated here. Not to say that his agent, Scott Boras, is excited to make a deal. This is a guy that likes to wait it out and is looking for every dollar that you could possibly get. I think the Cubs would pay him well. I don't think money is going to be an issue on this. But taking the Giants out of it, I think it really kind of makes this a little bit easier for the Cubs. And all of a sudden, something that we didn't have last week when we were in Nashville for baseball winter meetings is we got a lot of activity. And it really is crazy how so many things are happening now in the game because Ohtani finally signed that contract and he went to the Dodgers. And I mean, you're seeing it all around the game. And so I knew this was going to happen. I knew that we were going to kind of get to this point where teams are going to make commitments, make signings, and that was going to kind of dictate where the market is pushing certain players, and one of those guys being Cody Bellinger. And you're taking some of the premier teams off the table because they're getting, deals done in other areas. Like I said, the Yankees traded the Padres. They get Juan Soto. Now they have a bunch of guys that can play the outfield. And they have a first baseman. The Giants signing Lee, tells you that that's going to be the future of their team. And I know Korean baseball, it kind of slots double, triple A in the major leagues. Lee was one of the best players over there as a contact guy. I wonder how that translates into the game in America, just because the velo in Major League Baseball is probably 5-6 miles an hour faster than what they see in the Korean League. Now, that doesn't mean that he's not going to be able to make contact, but he is a super contact guy. And what we saw in the playoffs last year is that the teams like the Diamondbacks that were able to make contact and get on base did really well. And I think that that's going to be the future of the game. And I don't even know how we got away from making contact being a good thing, right? But about 10 years ago, baseball just decided that, hey, if you strike out, that's all right as long as you hit a bunch of home runs, And then this year we started to see teams that make contact, put the ball in play, have good things happen, and have success. And I think that that's kind of where we're going to go back into this game. Now, mention Yamamoto, not hearing the Cubs' name in that mix right now for the superstar pitcher out of Japan. Now, that doesn't mean that the Cubs aren't going to be in the mix for some pitchers. It just means that right now we're not hearing their name in there, and that's a deal that's going to be somewhere around $300 million. So that could be a number that the Cubs aren't real excited about. But Shota Igamaga, another guy out of Japan, this was the guy that started the last game in the World Baseball Classic. He's a little bit older than Yamamoto, as you guys know. He's 30 instead of 25, but he can pitch. Cubs are squarely in that mix from everything that we're hearing. So they're going to go after him. Of course, the Tyler Glasnow trade possibilities are there. You keep hearing the Cubs name with the Dodgers and some other names. The Dodgers are going to need some pitching as well. So that'll be interesting. And, who knows? The Cubs and Cleveland keep on kind of, pinging back and forth as a potential, and the Guardians are looking to make a trade. We talked about Shane Bieber, who's a guy who has had some success. He's been a Cy Young Award winner. He's also coming off of injuries, but all these guys seems to be coming off of injuries. I mean, whether you're talking about Marcus Stroman, a guy that the Cubs had last year, he was injured. Glasnow, he was injured. He's got great stuff. Bieber, former Cy Young Award winner, he's been injured. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast right now, and something that obviously is a concern, but that you're just going to be dealing with as far as starting pitching is concerned. And then even Blake Snell's had injury issues, and he's still out there as well. I'm a little surprised that Major League Baseball teams have been more excited about Yamamoto coming over from Japan than they are Blake Snell, who's been in Major League Baseball having success. But I think that also goes to show, and I kind of mentioned this yesterday, is that the Japanese Major League Baseball league, or the equivalent, has gotten a lot better. I mean, like these guys come over, and you hear about Ohtani, and then he comes over and he has success here. You're expecting that when that Yamamoto comes over, he's going to do well. Imanaga's going to come over. He's going to do well. You're comfortable with that because those guys have been able to translate their success in Japan to the Major League Baseball game. But if I'm a gambling guy, I mean, I would think that, having Blake Snell would just be a better gamble because we've already seen what he can do at the major league level. But, haven't heard the Cubs name in the Blake Snell sweepstakes. Doesn't mean that they're not in there. I just haven't heard that yet. So that's where we are right now. We're going to keep on popping up and talking about this stuff. We got Tim Wilkin and the MLB Baseball Scout podcast. That's going to be on the channel today. So we got a lot of cool stuff that we're doing, and we appreciate you guys being here as well. So make sure that you like and subscribe. We appreciate you being part of the channel. A couple things I want to tell you about. First off, our good friend Chad Anderson at Modern Lending. No matter where you're at, Chad can help you, whether that's investment consulting, whether that's help with Airbnb. He's helped over 1,000 families, him and his business, over the years, get into homes, businesses. He's one of the best mortgage advisors that's out there, and he's part of what we do here every day. So that's chadanderson.info, and of course, you know him from the channel. The other thing that I want to tell you guys about is the Smokies, the Tennessee Smokies, the Cubs AA affiliate, first championship, 45 years, and they're celebrating. Team store right now, smokiesbaseball.com/team store. That's where they got all the great swag to prove it. So check it out over there. If you like game used bats and balls, autographed jerseys from some of the Cubs top prospects, they got it all. And with the holidays coming up, whether you're celebrating Hanukkah right now or you got Christmas coming around the corner, make sure you check it out. And tell me what you get. Like, put it in the comments section. Love the comments, too. You guys constantly telling me what you think, and we absolutely love you guys being a part of what we're doing here. So anyway, go Cubs. We will keep you updated on everything going on. But I feel like the Cubs are making a lot of progress in the Cody Bellinger sweepstakes, and I think that is a really good thing. Go Cubs.